welcome back to our Lips Unsealed podcast. Here with us today is Ian Jensen of Microsoft, and he will be one of our speakers at this year's D365 Tech Connect. So we're very excited to welcome him to the podcast and let him talk a little bit about his session and some other fun things. So, hi, Ian. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Should I do a little intro?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, tell me about yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Ian Jensen. I am a principal engineer at Microsoft on our it was called the Industry Solutions Engineering Team. I will update the folks at the meeting what the new name is, but we specialize in kind of big problems across the Microsoft products. My team in particular specializes in business applications. I came from the world of consulting, did that for about a decade, and have now happily landed at the mothership. So.
And so you're in consulting now, but were you a dev? Or you always been development as well, or did you shift to development?
Yeah, I pretty much always. I actually started even pre ERP consulting. Was still in the Microsoft stack. I actually started as a C# developer, a civilian for the U.S. Air Force, which fun tie-in to Dayton, right? That's one of the big businesses in town. So, I was always technical. Wore many hats over the consulting years. Got passively functional, but yeah, I've always been pretty close to the code.
Right on. Yeah. So I started. I started 1,000 different careers, but my current IT career started as a technical person. I got a degree in development. It was pretty much jumped right into X++ development in like 2004 or so. So did that almost up until I left my end user, so 2020. So I was ton of development. So, but also like you said, just a weird quasi-functional user when I had to be.
Yeah,
like I like coding, but when somebody had a problem, like, hey, this journal won't post, I had to go figure that out too. So.
I have found that functional people really appreciate technical people that have a little bit of a foot in each world, and vice versa for that matter. It's
Exactly. Yep. It's fun to have them both ways. Yep. Yeah. I've turned a couple functional people into dev resources at times, which is also fun. Come to the dark side.
Yeah. We have cookies. Yeah.
I love it. And lemonade or orange punch, whatever you prefer. Cool. Yeah. So that's why we're here to talk about, this tech event. Did you attend the Microsoft tech events that were in Seattle that I think they ended around 2015 or 16? They used to have this very specific technical event.
I think the last it wasn't totally tech centric, but the business application summits. I attended a couple of those, and that's as technical as things got. But
Gotcha.
none of the ones that were pure
tech. Yeah, those are my favorite. Yeah, because they were just all developers from Microsoft, either showcasing upcoming cool stuff or they were taking notes on things they were working on. So it was really a behind the curtain look, and that's kind of how this event came about. Mikhail was doing something on the side anyway, but when the Microsoft tech event stopped being a thing, really increased the concept of what we're doing here. So again, every year it's been a little bit bigger and a little better with really good tech and current and forward thinking sessions. So we're pretty excited. And then just live events. I mean, we just got back from Summit. I can't remember. Did you make it to Summit?
No, I was on a long vacation. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You just got back. Yeah. So just got back from Summit. 4,000 plus of our favorite friends. Savannah was there. Had a great time. Love live events. Just a quick thought on why I love live events, because I like the interaction with folks around one topic. It's something about that. It just gets super creative and fun. I had so many conversations that went in wild, crazy areas, and we've got a lot of cool stuff out of that, and a lot of action items. So I'll start with Savannah. Why do you like you've just started this live event thing? What do you like about them?
Yeah, I mean, it's just great to see everyone in person, obviously. Like you said, I'm kind of new to it. So last year was like my first summit and everything. And even just like the difference from last year to this year, kind of knowing even more people as you're walking around. So I'm excited as I grow my career a little bit each year to see some more people that I know and everything like that. yeah, just the networking and everything like that is awesome. The events,
Yeah.
I planned the events for our event, Tech Connect, so it's fun being on like the opposite end of attending everything as well. So
Right, yeah. And Ian, you've done live events, so I know that you missed Summit this year, but we were at Scottsdale together in the 105-degree heat in May. What do you like about live events?
That was fun. That particular event kind of mandated gatherings because we were all sheltering in the shade. But
I know I was using Ian as a shadow at some point. There were no trees, but I guess to stand against tall people and use the shadow effect
there you
to get
go.
behind.
I'm glad we're back in the world of live events. I think I have a little bit of a biased perspective. Even when I was back in consulting, I'm always interested to have conversations that are more frank than people are maybe necessarily comfortable having online. Right? There's like a permanent paper trail, digital paper trail, on when you're posting these things in forums or product feedback that people are. In my experience, a little bit more frank about the problems they're working on, the ideas they have when it's face to face, and that's actually part of my personal interest in attending this event. But I can also say that Microsoft is a where we say we're a customer obsessed company. That's not words. That's part of why we get to come to these things is to actually learn what our customers are up to.
Yeah. And back in the old days of Summit, like the first Summit I went to, Microsoft actually had a pretty functional booth with folks like you, like deep technical resources that you could schedule time with. Like I could schedule time with Ian because I've got a journal that won't post and he's going to help me out some way. I could send him the information ahead of time. And there was a really, like you said, a deep connection. And it was good to see. I know, again, you weren't there, but Microsoft was there in full force kind of towards the last minute, so it wasn't quite, I think, as fully baked as they'd hoped. But but what a great reemergence for the organization and customer, like you said, interaction. It was fun to see folks there. I talked to a bunch of people, and just kind of that reemerging, as live events are reemerging, Microsoft dipping their toes again, jumping back in as again things loosen up too, because it's been interesting as COVID is backed off, that bigger companies took a little longer sometimes, depending on relaxing travel policies and stuff like that. So it's been interesting to see that come back around. So yeah, pretty excited about live events. So you're joining us at Tech Connect. It's a technical event. You can give us a little preview, not a lot, but just a little preview about the fun things we'll be talking about after you're done with your session.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, my team focuses on kind of big problems that affect multiple customers or big customers, and they're kind of we try to be forward looking. And so we've been working on some things that I wanted to bring to your audience. There's kind of two big topics that we've been working on. So I mean, there's more than that, but two that are relevant for this meeting. So one is the notion of how we manage X++ code in Git. This is something that has been talked about in the MVP circles and in the product forums online for a while now. And there's decent coverage on that problem. Things have changed a bit with the new development architecture. So that's one thing we're going to cover. I should mention this is in the scope of D365 finance and supply chain management. That's kind of my specialty. The second thing is a little bit broader, and if I'm being frank, I think a little bit more exciting going forward. Our team has been working on a Terraform provider for Power Platform. Terraform is an infrastructure as code tool set, and what you can do with it is define the state of your business application, Microsoft business application, but really any infrastructure. You can define the state and reliably kind of expect that this is what our systems are going to look like. So we've been working on an open source tool set that's going to go public probably sometime at the end of the year. And I'll be showing some of the features of that tool set. One of the most exciting one to me is that we can deploy D365 Finance Dev environments using this tool, which is how long have people wanted that? That's been.
And this is still a dev tool, or is it leaning towards the citizen side, or is it still you have to be a pretty deep dev resource to be able to understand this.
I would say now I'm a little biased because obviously I have a technical background. I was not familiar with Terraform when we picked up this tool set. It clicked pretty easily. I would say probably the primary users that we would target for this thing to start are probably administrators, like environment administrators. Devs can definitely get their hands on it. I would say it's pretty accessible. Like the Terraform as a framework is fairly accessible, and I'll be showing that at the meeting. So.
And I'm sure anybody watching this that's technical knows. I've mentioned it, you've mentioned it, but X++ is the code base for F&O. It's a hybrid, right? I mean, I grew up. I mean, I'm going to date myself. I learned to program in BASIC. That was the language that was available to me. And VB6 was like the hot coding platform, Visual Basic 6. So Savannah's nodding her head like, yeah, I remember that VB6.
Oh yeah.
I'm sitting here nodding. You've got a fallback retirement plan if you ever need to go back. Those languages are still alive and well.
That's crazy how people, like COBOL programmers going back even further are still, because COBOL is just really old, but there's still so many systems that are out there that they get to us like, oh no, what are we going to do? We need COBOL programmers. Get that 80-year-old guy out of retronement. He's over there in that home. We need him out here.
Exactly.
Deciphering our code, cards. The first program I ever wrote, and it just went off and never touched it again. In 6th grade, we had a computer science class. It was, just one off. And Mr. Bratton, we had to write a blackjack program, and it was, I'm not kidding, it was like a stack of cards, like this in COBOL that you programmed, and they would punch holes in the cards. And then you would go, and then there's a machine that would read the cards, and then it would tell you if your cards were in order and if all the cards worked, and then it would run your program.
That's fantastic. That's a little bit of a tangent, not what we're here to talk about. But Microsoft does have a program called TEALS, where we get into schools that don't have access to that kind of stuff, and we put engineers in to help with the computer science classwork.
Awesome.
And that's like accessibility to that stuff is still a pretty big problem. Across the country. So it's awesome that you were able to do that in 6th grade. That's fantastic. Even though it was the old school painful stack of cards that one gets out of order.
If there was one card that was broken, you don't know which card it is. You just have to start from the beginning and look at all the code again and just print all the cards out again and try it again. It could be painful if it was like, stacks and stacks, boxes and boxes of code cards. Cool. I also know, because we've known each other a bit, that it's disappointing because there's an amusement park in Ohio that has a roller coaster that you haven't been able to visit, and it's going to be closed when you're visiting. So I was disappointed. I was just hoping that they were going to open like on a weekend or just something to give you that opportunity.
I checked last week. I was like, maybe, but no.
Yeah, I keep checking back, hoping that they're just gonna. Hey, man, we got a really nice weekend. Just open it. Ian's coming. We got to get this thing. Which coaster is it that you haven't ridden there?
Well, I'm trying to think if there was one I hadn't ridden. There probably is. It's been a long while since I've been there.
I thought there was something in Ohio.
There's one in particular that my wife and I both love. This is a mystery solved for anybody that's been in meetings with me. It's this one. This is Millennium Force, which is probably the most famous coaster in the park. We're big amusement park people, and so this was part of the potential appeal of coming out. The fringe benefits of conferences, right, is visiting the local attractions. But no, it's reasonable that Cedar Point is closed at this point of the year. So maybe I'll go drive to by the parking lot and look sadly at the
like Wally World, like the guy there. Sorry, Ian, park's closed.
Yeah, like vacation, exactly. Yeah.
Savannah, do you remember the first roller coaster you rode?
Probably like one of the bigger ones that I ever rode. I remember it had I think it might have been Cedar Point that we went to. And I remember my brother took me on it, and it had a small loop. And I just thought it was the biggest deal ever. Cause before then it was I was over in Snoopy Land or something like that. So I forget what the name of it was, but I know what you're talking about too with Millennium Force. That's one of my favorite ones at Cedar Point as well. So that's awesome.
I was afraid of roller coasters when I was a kid, and we had King's Dominion. That was the big park that was around in Virginia. So we would go to King's Dominion or Busch Gardens a little bit later. Busch Gardens as well.
Yeah, it's a good area for amusement parks. Yeah.
King's Dominion had the King Cobra, which was a big giant loop, and it had the Rebel Yell, which for its time was a pretty, scary roller coaster. But I stuck with Scooby Doo, and even that was a little much. Like I was like, zoinks, it's just too much. I can't take it. But I eventually got on the King Cobra, and I remember it was the first time I cussed in front of my mom. My mom and I are in the King Cobra, and about midway through the loop, I just screamed out the S word just at the top of my lungs. And I was like, oops. And she's
It's
like,
a
don't
totally
worry.
natural response. That's defensible. I feel like, yeah.
That's right. You can't get away with, or you can't fault me for that.
Yeah.
No.
Cool. Ian, any final thoughts on the event? Anything you're thinking about as we're leading into it? I know you're excited. We've been talking about this. You could feel the excitement in the topic. We're excited to have you. But any final thoughts before we let you go?
Maybe an ask of anybody that's thinking of going. I mean, come prepared to talk about what's going on with your systems. There's going to be a lot of. I watched the last episode of this, and y'all talked to the point that like there's going to be a lot of experts there. So I would say get kind of courageous. Be willing to have some frank conversations because I'm coming there to help. I think a lot of us are coming there to help, and very interested to hear what people are working on. So be courageous, I guess, is my final thought.
That's a great point. I love hammering that home. I've been hammering it home at our local events, at these events. Man, if you're going to these events and you're not coming prepared with questions when you've got experts in the room like Ian and everybody else we have, you're missing out on great opportunity. This is just like you said, time to be bold and get them out there. And I think we'll hammer that home too when we get there in person, like just day one, like, hey, we've got 2 days of opportunity here. Don't waste it. Enjoy yourself, but also take advantage of these folks and ask questions when you can. So cool.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, Ian, it was nice getting to chat with you a little bit via face-to-face camera. I'm excited to get to see you in person next week. It'll be fun. So yeah, thank you to everyone who is joining us, and can't wait to hopefully see you next week as well. So see you guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care.